Yeah, it turns green. did a movie called Hoodlum.
And then he's on.
He was with Vanessa.
Hello and welcome this evening. Please note we will be recording this, so please make loud cheers and sound as each group does participate, because we want to get as much loud sound as we can to get for the people watching at home. Much appreciated, and here we begin.
Good evening and welcome to the third annual Entrepreneurship and Business Academy Pitch Night. My name is Evan Need, and I will be your student co-host for the evening. This event is the culmination of a semester's worth of work for our entrepreneurship and innovation students in their Incubatoredu and Design for Entrepreneurs classes. Tonight, you will hear 6 teams pitch their business ideas to our panelists, who will then decide the merits of their idea. They may receive all the funding that they ask for, or more or less, based on what the judges think. There may even be a chance that a 4th or 5th team receives funding. Tonight, the judges have $25,000 to provide to the top teams. Prior to the start of this event, there were 7 additional Incubatoredu teams who participated in the preliminary pitch competition. These teams have developed commercial pitch videos which showcase their business idea and lessons learned throughout the class. The video commercials will be shown throughout the night and in between the stage pitches. As we begin our evening tonight, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Bruce Thompson. Mr. Thompson has been involved with Pitch Night from the very start and is tonight's benefactor for the funding provided to the teams. Born in Norfolk and raised in Virginia Beach, Bruce Thompson's career began at age 8, catching and selling blue crabs for 60 cents per dozen, selling Christmas cards, and running 2 different paper routes to earn spending money. He left home at age 17 and didn't attend college. He worked in Pungo hog farming, and in his late teens began organizing national concerts and foosball tournaments. Mr. Thompson, the quintessential entrepreneur, has built, owned, and operated over a dozen different highly successful business companies in various industries, including travel, retail, transportation, food and beverage, timeshare, hotel, and commercial real estate. In fact, the travel company he founded became the largest ski operator on the East Coast and evolved into a full-service wholesale and retail tour and motor coach company. As Thompson expanded the travel company into hotels and restaurants, it became known today as Gold Key PHR. In 1986, Gold Key PHR had less than 50 employees and $5 million in revenue. By 2015, it had over 3,000 employees in season and $230 million in revenue. Today, the company operates a variety of hotels, restaurants, multifamily, and commercial real estate, and has become a key developer in the coastal Virginia area. Mr. Thompson credits his success to the encouragement and support he has received from his role models and mentors, particularly at a young age. He strives to do the same for the next generation of aspiring entrepreneurs. From the hog farm to the corporate suite, his journey to success is attributed to his unyielding spirit of entrepreneurship. We are so excited to have Mr. Thompson, a true local entrepreneur, involved with our program. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Thompson to the stage. The first panelist I would like to introduce to you tonight is Amy Prismazilla. Ms. Prismazilla was raised and born as an Army brat, living all over the United States and even Korea for a couple of years during her early childhood. Moving every couple of years shaped her ability to handle change and the pressures of her new environments. After working for several years in sales, she progressed into running operations and had always dreamed of owning her own business. She partnered with a colleague and they started their own company. This was probably the scariest leap of her career. Ms. Prismazilla has not only created a successful business model, but launched it into one of the most competitive industries, U.S. government contracting. Several years later, she was able to open her own woman-owned government contracting company. Today, Coastal Management Solutions, Inc. is 15 years old and is successful in seeking out projects for the federal government that employ people all over the nation. Ms. Prismazilla is not only proud of her accomplishments, but is beyond proud of her corporate team. She's most grateful that her success in business has allowed her the opportunity to support different charities and people in need throughout the years. She prides herself on the quality of service her team provides the government and dedication of all their employees in the field. Oh, please welcoming Ms. Prismazilla. Our next panelist is Gilbert Bland, who is the president and chairman of the Urban League of Hampton Roads. Mr. Bland has been an owner and operator of restaurants for over 30 years as a franchisee of Burger King, Pizza Hut, and Mrs. Fields Cookies. In this capacity, he has owned and constructed and operated over 70 restaurants in Virginia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Washington, D.C. He has employed over 2,000 team members annually, and during this tenure, Mr. Bland was among the nation's largest African-American franchisees. Mr. Bland began his career as a commercial lending officer for the Continental Bank of Chicago and served as the vice president for the Independence Bank of Chicago. Mr. Bland is the recipient of numerous awards and community recognition for volunteerism, contributions, and leadership. For the past 8 years, he has been chosen by Virginia Business Magazine as one of the 50 most influential Virginians. In 2020, Mr. Bland was named to the inaugural selection of the Virginia 500, the 2020 Power List. In April 2021, Mr. Bland was recognized by the Volunteer Hampton Roads to receive the region's Lifetime Achievement Award for volunteerism. In 2022, Mr. Bland will be inducted into the Hampton Roads Business Hall of Fame. Mr. Bland was appointed to 3 statewide committees to help guide efforts and resources during the COVID-19 crisis: Education Work Group, Health Equities Work Group, and the Back to Work Task Force. In April 2021, he was recognized by Volunteer Hampton Roads to receive the region's Lifetime Achievement Award again for volunteerism. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Bland. Next up is Glenn Carrington, who is the Dean School of Business for Norfolk State University. He is a graduate of Norfolk State University and earned his law degree from the University of Virginia School of Law. Prior to coming to Norfolk State University, he was a partner principal at Ernst & Young LLP, where he served on the U.S. Executive Board. At Ernst & Young, Mr. Carrington primarily focused on serving clients in the areas of corporate tax, accounting, and financial transactions. He was the principal author of a standard reference guide, Tax Accounting and Mergers and Acquisitions. Dean Carrington is a 2-time recipient of the Tax Excellent Award from the National Bar Association and former chair of the ABA Government Relations Committee and member of the ABA Tax Section Council. Since June 2017, he has been leading the way to prepare business students for the real world of business and entrepreneurship through his aggressive fundraising efforts, passion, and advocacy. Please welcome Dean Carrington. Also on our panel tonight is Grant Page, who is the founder and president of Magna Imperio Systems. At the age of 17, Grant Page conducted one crucial experiment in his father's body shop that would lead to the invention of End Solutions, the most sustainable, efficient, and cost-effective water treatment solution in the world. After his senior year at the U.S. Naval Academy, the young entrepreneur wanted to found Magna Imperio Systems Corporation in 2014. Disruptor and heart and soul, Page's mission is to make water treatment more available and affordable to industries and people deprived of reliable water worldwide. At 28 years old, Page continues to set a new benchmark in the water industry. His goal is to leverage technology to solve the water crisis. Please welcome Grant Page. Joining them this evening is Morgan Davis, who is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Town Bank. He's a graduate of Old Dominion University and began his career as a bank teller. A founding employee and director, Mr. Davis oversees the company's growth and profitability. He has served on the boards of numerous organizations during his 40-plus career, and most recently with the Goodwill Industries of Central and Coastal Virginia and the Zyders American Dream Theater. He's also the 32nd King Neptune and received many recognitions for his extensive community involvement. As well, he is an excellent piano player and often performs at the Cavalier Hotel's Raleigh Room. Please welcome Morgan Davis. Rounding out our panel of entrepreneurs is Monique Adams. Monique Adams is the executive director of 757 Angels. A graduate of the University of Southern California, Monique has been named to the Inside Business Power List. She was a 2017 recipient of the Women in Business Award and a 2019 inductee into the Junior Achievement Hampton Roads Business Hall of Fame. Monique has an extensive financial services background with senior financial positions at both the predecessors of Bank of America in Norfolk and JP Morgan Chase in New York City and Los Angeles. Since launch, 757 Angels has grown to be one of the largest and most active angel groups in the country, with 140 members and investors, and injected over $75 million of capital into startup and early stage companies. Please welcome Monique Adams. First up this evening will be the students Michaela Boone, Meg Garrett, Bryce McBride, Lucia Morton, and Morgan Sutton. Please welcome Team World Play.
Do you remember the last time you littered? Within the past 5 years, 75% of people have admitted to littering. Clearly no one taught them right.
This has created the harsh reality we live in.
Our man-made waste ends up in the habitats of animals who are unable to protect themselves from our mistakes.
This can't be the way you want our future generations to inherit this world.
Help us restore our world's natural grace.
With World Play.
In a national study done by the NAIS, only 7% of schools have a written definition for environmental literacy.
Across the board, sustainability education for young students has remained minimal despite the increasing demand for environmental protection.
How do we expect future generations to understand the complexity of our current climate struggle with this scarcity of resources?
How can we help role models and educators adequately teach this issue?
Our team took the initiative on solving this educational gap with World Play. Our solution? A sustainability series for children. World Play brings to you an innovative and effective sustainability resource via a children's story. We aim to develop a series of books that utilize engaging, relatable, and easy to comprehend themes that call out relevant environmental concepts. Before we get into it, let's meet Team World Play. My name is Lucia Morton.
I'm Meg Garrett.
I'm Morgan Sutton.
I'm Bryce McBride.
And I'm Michaela Boone. We began this process by surveying local teachers and parents to better understand their perspective on this educational dilemma. For our first round of interviews, we decided to see if our target market was affected by this problem, and we discovered that no one we surveyed had received sustainability education, but most were willing to pay for it. For our second round of interviews, we went on to ask people if they believed in climate change, and only 4% of people said no. Over 80% of respondents said that they would purchase a book on this topic for their children, though. But we needed to know how to make it appealing, so we then asked what grabs their children's attention when it came to reading books, and their responses were bright graphics, positive reinforcement, relatability, family engagement, and interactive stories.
Thanks, Michaela. After learning more about our customer needs and market demands, we began to develop a series demonstrational that was used to test our structure and style. Our first edition follows elementary school student Libby, her parents, and her best friend Sandy the Seagull on a trip to the beach. We began by curating a series of illustrations that reflected a style inspired by our survey feedback. Our main characters, represented by the concept art in our demo, are responsible for guiding the readers through a series of checkpoints where they're able to essentially choose their own ending. These pages highlight and compare the common choices that they encounter when they have the opportunity to impact their environment. This is followed up by a resolution and fact spread where Sandy analyzes the consequences of each choice. This is where our nonfiction value comes into play, and we proceed with the encouraged sustainable behavior. By scanning the QR code found in your handout, you can access a very detailed presentation that covers the contents of our first edition. We call this the My Choices, My World series, with our first book titled Libby and Sandy Go to the Beach.
Thank you, Lucia. Now for our competition. On screen are a few examples of our competitors. We share similar styles such as bright colors, fun fonts, and topics covering sustainability. We took inspiration from this series of books called the Choose Your Own Adventure series, where the reader gets to choose the character's actions, which changes and alters the plot. Here's an example from our story, where the reader chooses if the character picks up trash or not, and consequences will follow. What sets us apart? What makes us unique is our nonfiction aspect, character development, relatability, and, of course, our choose-your-own ending style.
Thanks, Bryce. Now for our customer segment. So our target audience would be parents and teachers ages 30 through 60, which means our total amount of customers would be 17,544,600 people. There are 55 public elementary schools in the Virginia Beach area and 28 in Chesapeake, which means we could reach roughly 500 teachers. If each teacher had an average of 25 students, that means we could reach 12,500 parents.
Thanks, Morgan. Now let's take a deeper dive into our costs to make this product. Our startup cost totaled to $745.38. This consists of the cost to edit our book, maintain a website, purchase Adobe software for illustration purposes, and electronically file for copyright. Our service general and administrative would consist of the cost to list our book on Etsy if we chose to sell through this platform in the future. As far as our cost of goods sold, we have decided to self-publish our book through Amazon, and it costs Amazon a total of $1.27 to print our book. We get a 60% royalty off of each book sold. Therefore, we've decided to list our book at the competitive price of $11.99, giving us a profit of $5.92 per book. Looking at our revenue forecast, we project clear, sunny skies ahead as far as sales. We plan to sell a total of 505 books within the first 9 months, equating to an estimated revenue of $2,990. We attribute this to expanding our market to include other local beach areas such as the Outer Banks and expanding our book to become a series later on.
As far as our marketing strategies, we plan to market our product through an online website or account, as well as distribute monthly printed newsletters to our local elementary schools to simultaneously get the word out to parents, teachers, and students. We also plan to do live readings at our local elementary schools and at local libraries, as well as promote and sell our product via Amazon and Etsy. We also plan to go to the beach and promo. Now you may be wondering, what have we done so far? Well, so far, we have a contact list of every local elementary school, including principals, assistant principals, teachers, and parents. We have an updated Twitter page that contains our status as a business. We have over 50 survey responses containing what our customer base would like to see in our book, and we have demonstrational and illustrational materials showing what we plan to do with our series.
Now that you've seen our plan, here's what we're asking for. We're proposing a $746 margin for our startup costs, $317 for our first 250 publishings, a $250 margin for our marketing campaigns, and an additional $187 rainy day fund. This comes up to a total of a $1,500 investment in WorldPlay.
Now I'm sure you all are wondering, when will our business break even? Well, in order to make back our $1,500 in funding ask, we would have to sell approximately 254 books. This is because we make a profit of $5.92 per book. Based on our revenue forecast, we believe we can accomplish this within the first 6 months after publishing.
Looking at the future, we are hoping to accomplish the following goals by 2022. Finish writing and editing our book, continue with our marketing strategies, create an Amazon Kindle Direct publishing account, as well as format the book to fit its requirements, and finally, publish.
To summarize our mission, WorldPlay aims to inspire a new generation of young readers to explore concepts that are not traditionally taught in the classroom.
The resources we provide to educators and families supports an innovative and modern learning style, which promotes sustainable behavior.
In addition to developing our book series, we envision a load of possibilities for our group to bring this form of education to new environments.
Whether that's through workshops, public readings, an animated series, or more.
We ask that you join us in our mission to explore this sandbox of possibilities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see.
We would now like to open up the floor to any questions from the judges.
Well, it's a great concept. You did a great presentation. You're right on the mark with sustainability and trying to think about not just the generation we're in today, but generations of the future. So I think you're spot on with your thoughts.
Thank you, thank you.
It is a great presentation, and it's timely. A question I would ask you to consider is, you took the time to research your competitors, and there are other books out there now. How will you rise above those other books and get people to buy your book in a marketing perspective? Why will they click on your book?
So one of our main attention grabbers is the reference back to the choose your own ending style. So we're kind of using that nostalgic effect to put us aside from the rest of our market competitors, and that's one of the main things that is kind of driving people into choosing our sustainability series, our children's series story, because we are referencing that old and interactive as well. It's a new interactive concept that you don't see a lot in the children's books currently, so we are marketing with that new innovative approach.
I don't think I quite understood the choose your ending part.
Sure, I'd love to explain it. So with our story, we follow a series of obstacles. The characters follow obstacles where the readers are given the opportunity to analyze the different outcomes that could happen, like in common choices within their day. So the main character, as well as the readers, are being told to choose between, let's say, a plastic water bottle or a jug, or like a reusable jug. And in the choose your own ending style, what happens is that we have a comparison page as well as a resolution and facts page where our narrator compares and analyzes the differences between both of those and allows the readers to kind of interact with their choice and choose their own ending, basically. So they're choosing which ending they would like to go with. But the story, in order to encourage the sustainable behavior, they follow through with the positive outcome or the positive choice.
How many books are you looking to?
So within our series, we began with just choosing to do more of a local focus, focusing on ocean pollution. But within our series, we want to touch on anything from air pollution to water pollution to, there's plenty of other fields of that. So we were thinking maybe, the series is open to a lot of different possibilities. So a number between 5 to 15 would probably be a good rough estimate for that.
I applaud your sense of corporate responsibility, very impressive. I'm curious, is there any of this content being taught or talked about in the classroom?
I can answer that. So we, during our surveys, we were able to conduct a few different versions of our surveys that asked teachers as well as parents what they had learned in the past in terms of sustainability, as well as asking what's present in the curriculum currently. And what we learned is that for elementary school students or across the board are not really getting a very in-depth look at sustainability and sustainable behavior. So as of now, there is not a lot present in the curriculum other than the regular 3 R's, reduce, recycle. So that is what we found out from our surveys.
I might suggest that another potential target would be the school board.
Yes, that sounds like a good idea.
I have a quick question, if you don't mind. I'm a little confused on the business model. So I think I heard you say that you were actually printing books. Are you printing physical books? Or are you doing an e-book? And would you consider doing an e-book if you're not?
So currently, we decided to self-publish our book through Amazon, and we have to first get our book into a PDF format so that they can print it for us when an order comes in. But we can adapt and make it into an ebook if there's interest in that market.
The first one would be food for thought, which there's about 12 nonprofit companies that control the whole recycling and water industry. And of those 12, there's really 3 that control 92% of the market share. So one thing to think about is maybe to partner with one of them as far as getting market share. And then with your market share, one thing, the school board recommendation was a great one, but I would just consider, have you guys thought of other ways outside of the 500 teachers to the 1,250 parents? Because on average, you get a 1% acceptance rate, which would only give you about 125 customers, which then puts your payback for the investor to 2 years and not making an investment return until 3 years, which most investors are going to look for a 1 to 2, because then it'll end up being a 4 to 5.
Could you repeat the question that you were asking with that? Sorry.
What's the bet?
Sorry.
How are you looking to maybe go beyond just the 500 teachers and the 1,250 parents?
So in addition to marketing just in general to the teacher population, we have the opportunity to, again, like you said, collaborate with nonprofits in the area, which we already have a pretty dense contact list for. So we would be able to utilize and partner with those nonprofit activities to promote the book in new environments outside of the school system.
Happy to introduce you to the nonprofits as well.
Do you think this is a movement that younger people can have to get more people to invest where you're investing, doing what you want to do? I mean, I think Gil kind of pointed out who's your target audience, students generally, but then there's a broader audience out there, and the students are very powerful in terms of convincing others. So have you thought about how do you gather students to come out and make people in the country, across the world, and across the globe to want to follow your ideas?
That is definitely a major part of our mission, that we are trying to get students inspired about things that they haven't really learned before within the school system. So that's definitely a very big part of our work. Thank you.
So you're going to have, I think you asked for $1,500, is that?
Yes.
$1,500, and exactly how will that be spent?
So we're looking into covering our startup costs, which is mostly getting our book up and running and editing and proofreading and all those parts that go into actually making a book, in addition to like finding ways to market our book, other than, like you all said, other than reaching out to teachers, whether that's through more social media or other kinds of platforms.
Are you going to use an editor, or are you going to have some professional support to help you with copyright, if we considered any of those types of costs that may or may not be applicable to what you're trying to accomplish?
Mm-hmm. We also incorporated within our funding ask a little bit of a rainy day fund, which could be used to cover any extra costs that would come out of that editing margin.
One last question. You did a great job describing your customer discovery and the interview questions you asked. Were you able to determine if anyone would be interested? Have you pre-sold any books?
That is definitely a part of our future timeline, but as of now, since we are still in the developmental phase of creating the illustrations, we have not collected a strong number of pre-orders, but through our surveys, we have asked people what they would like to see in books and if they would purchase a book on a specific topic, this topic specifically. They had answered that, they had said yes to purchasing stories such as ours.
And if I may add, part of like what we work towards after like these presentations is creating an MVP, and that's when we kind of focus more on getting like our minimum viable product and getting pre-sales and like letting people know what's coming.
Who did you send the surveys out to?
So the surveys, Michaela can talk a little bit more about who we surveyed.
We sent them out to like people we knew, younger children, parents, teachers, and really anyone that could have an opinion on it.
Yeah, our local, like the elementary schools we went to, we reached out to their teachers and assistant principals and those schools.
If I could add, I was running down my street looking for these elementary kids that live near me and just constantly like interviewing them, like, okay, well, do you like this picture, and what do you want in a book? And most of them were super, super excited about it because as I interviewed them, I learned that most of them like don't really care about the environment at all. Like they are so like attention span is so small, and so but showing them these books, they really got invested in what we were trying to show to them, and they were taking them home, and then I would see them again on the street, and they'd be like, hey, you could put this in your book because that's really cool. So it was cool to see them get excited about it, and it was really interesting to see what they wanted in a book and etc.
So elementary is 4 through 6, grades 4.
Here in the area, we have kindergarten. I guess that would count until fifth grade.
Okay, up to, okay.
Up till 5th grade, yes.
I would encourage you to think, but Ms. Adams mentioned about being an electronic book and trying to figure out how to get into that format, because then they can play and move and do too, so that at some point in time that might be something that might make it a little more engaging, particularly if you're picking your own outcome, right?
Yes, we've agreed on kind of exploring the ebook market a little bit more once we were able to find a little bit more success with our first edition, as well as possibly working on things like an animated series or an interactive website that could be linked within the book, as well as workshops too that can expose the students to the content, the same kind of content within the stories.
But did any of you have a personal experience that made you gravitate toward this concept?
Well, I know personally that the issue of pollution, especially in the ocean, is super close to home, especially living in Virginia Beach and being around the beach all the time. But at a younger age, throughout elementary school, I was always like super invested in like environment-related clubs and really wanting to help out with that. But it never really seemed like we were making an impact because we were pretty small humans in a world of a lot of humans. So it was just important to me, and I'm guessing the rest of the team, to make sure that kids get the same experience and that our world can be a better place for them and future generations.
Just last comment I'd make is people tend to buy on emotion and less on intellect many times. You have a very emotional picture up here of a young seal pup, I think, at the beginning. And if you considered making a contribution from a sale of a book to something that helps people's emotion locally, you'll get adults, I would think, saying you need to maybe even having a book signing or something at a local store. So think about the emotion of the purchase as well as the intellectual part of it.
Giving something back with each purchase.
Yes,
Where's
we
that
would-
shoe? The Tom's?
Bomba.
Tom's? Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to incorporate that work into our collaborations and partnerships with our nonprofits. So thank you for that.
Any other questions? You have an admirable mission, and thank you very much for thinking in that regard. Well
Thank
done.
you for your time.
Well done,
Yeah.
guys.
Hello, we are Team Switzerland. I'm Lucas Pendergast with Jacob Estella and Luke Boynton. Throughout my time playing soccer, I've had to buy multiple cleats quickly in order to play a game that's been 20 minutes. Most of the cleats I've had to buy have been due to the studs wearing down, and in my case, switch soles would have been perfect. We are designing cleats that have interchangeable soles that will allow athletes to do multiple activities with the same pair of shoes. We are going to talk to an expert to find out the most efficient way to attach the soles. The point of our product is to create a replacement for your studs in the spot and make it affordable as well as compatible with other sports.
Through our interviews, we found out that around 72% of people would buy our product and 24% said maybe. When we asked people how much they'd be willing to spend on a replacement pair of soles, most said around $20 to $50. Most people said they are interested in our product to save money and for convenience. Our target market will be young athletes and their parents. We aim to advertise to the parents especially because we realize that parents are most likely going to be buying the products. We want to be clear when we say that this is not for professionals, but for less serious multi-sport athletes. Our total addressable market includes around 1 billion youth athletes worldwide. Out of these, we think we will have around 100 million potential customers. With our product priced at $70, that would put our potential sales at $7 billion. We hope to reach around 2% of our potential customers through our advertising. One of our next steps will be to talk with a product design expert to see how our design can be improved. Our second step will be to advertise our product through social media on Instagram and Facebook. Our startup cost will be a website which will be free, a prototype which will be $30 to $55, and to talk with an expert we think it'll be around $1,300. Our overall cost per pair of shoes is $30 to $55 for the base shoe and $10 for each individual pair of soles. Our shipping will be around $8 to $12 and our labor cost per shoe will be around $22 to $29. Throughout this class, we have learned how to successfully work as a team. We have learned how to make professional presentations and we've learned a lot about our customer segments and our target market in the future. In conclusion, we are Team Switch Soles and we are setting out to make the first multi-sport athletic shoe. Thank you for watching.
Hello, we are Team Switch Soles.
Next up will be students Joshua Coster, Joseph Custodio, Rylan Kittrell, and Nico Villa Razzetti. Please welcome Team Chilchu.
Do you find yourself to be stressed or anxious often? Is the workload of your daily life getting the better of you? Does it cause you to be clouded by this stress and anxiety? And have you tried coping with this stress and anxiety through a multitude of products? If so, allow me to ask you, were they effective? Chances are they worked for a while, but eventually declined in efficiency. Healthline.com's article on everything you need to know about fidgeting claims that the activity of fidgeting can provide a temporary solution. We've come to offer a permanent one. And what we've done is found the miracle ingredient that can rapidly improve brain function, resulting in lower stress and anxiety levels. This miracle ingredient is called rhodiola rosea. And besides just reducing stress and anxiety, it can also fight fatigue, improve symptoms of depression, and improve exercise performance, just to name a few. And now I doubt that you've heard of this product before today, but there is another known stress and anxiety reducer we all know and love, which is gum. Take a look at this 40-person study and how they performed on a multitasking platform which reliably induces stress and includes performance measures. Anxiety, alertness, and stress levels were measured before and after chewing gum. What you can see now is the results of the study. And as you can see, gum is useful in more ways than just reducing stress and anxiety. What we've done is combine these two to create the ultimate stress and anxiety reducer. And what is this miracle supplement called? Chill Chew. My name is Joseph.
I'm Rylan.
I'm Nico.
And he's Josh over there. Chill Chew is an all-natural, plant-based chewing gum designed to reduce and relieve stress and anxiety. And now on to Rylan with the data collection.
Based on our survey data collection, our target audience is high schoolers and young adults. Most of them said they go through a pack of gum in about 1 to 2 weeks and will mainly use Chill Chew at school. So we have actually started prototyping. We bought all the ingredients and have made 5 small batches so far. Each time, it has gotten so much better. Once we got the hang of it, we found it was pretty easy, so we went ahead and gave it to 50 people for surveying. 68% said they liked the flavor and that they would actually buy our product, and 74% actually felt more relaxed after just 5 minutes of chewing. And now on to Nico with competitors.
So we realized that there's other gum companies that claim that they can reduce and relieve stress through chewing gum, but these companies don't use rhodiola rosea. They're more expensive and they have less gum per pack. Chill Chew is an all-natural, locally owned, and less expensive alternative. At $5 a pack, we can provide a more cost-effective product for our consumers. Our serviceable addressable market is 55,500 teenagers in Virginia Beach. Of these teenagers, realistically, there would be around 11 to 14,000 who struggle with stress and anxiety. If we sell the gum at $5 a pack, we'd be able to make around $35,000 in profit. We plan to advertise through social media. This will include Instagram page ads, Facebook marketing, Google Ads, and Google AdSense. And on to Josh with our cost of goods sold.
Based on our cost of goods sold, we actually found out that vanilla is the cheapest to manufacture at $2.63, while the mint and citrus flavors cost $2.65. And for a pack of 20 for $5, we would have a profit margin of $2.36. For our startup, our startup total would be $1,107 for all the necessities and the essentials for our business. Our total for our SG&A would be around $4,355 for all the licensing, expenses, and marketing.
For our business to start on its feet, we would need an initial investment of $5,200. This will include inventory, shipping, promotion, and liquidity.
This is our revenue forecast. We are striving to have 550 or more buyers by month 12, but plan on continuing to grow for the months following.
In order for our business to start up, it would take us 1 to 3 months, and we expect to make our return on investment of $5,200 by month 11. In order to do this, we would need to sell a little over 2,000 packs of gum.
Through Chill Chew, we hope to help those who suffer with stress and anxiety on a daily basis or just in general. This has been our presentation, and it would have been a lot more stressful if it weren't for
Chill Chew.
Thank you for your time. What we'll do now is open up the room to questions and overall feedback.
I'm feeling pretty relaxed because I chewed one. It's pretty good. It really is.
So it's safe to chew right now?
Yes, it is.
I may have missed it.
Just wondering.
Go ahead.
So I have a young man that was trying to put together an energy drink, but there's something between coffee and a protein shake, and trying to put it all together. In fact, he had a great idea, talked to all the coffee folks, but where he got kind of hung up was on there's all sorts of things that you have to go through to the FDA and to a variety of other places that before you can actually give this to me and let me eat it, that it proves that it's safe. Have you all done that research? And here's some, it's pretty good.
It's good. It is good.
There's some lawyers that specialize in this type of work. Have you had a chance to talk to anyone in
Not yet, but we know with the steps we need to take once we receive funding, which we know what to do. And so once we receive funding, we'll be able to go through the process, and we included all the costs of like the licensings and things like that in the startup cost.
And since all the ingredients in it are FDA approved, that makes it FDA approved.
Well, I will tell you that you might want to talk to some lawyers, because the ones I know will eat up that $5,000 in a blink of an eye.
Okay. Yes.
So you're going to need to be real careful when you get into that area.
Okay. Yes.
I would add to that in that you made some claims as part of your presentation with improved sports performance, decreased fatigue, all of those things, and a good claims lawyer will be able to make sure that you don't get over your skis with those claims.
Okay. Yes, we'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Well, I must say, I would suspect this will work a lot better than my watch that reminds me to breathe deeply every hour or so. I'm curious, what will be the distribution and selling process? We just go from high school to high school, or?
Well, we plan to make a site, and we would be doing it locally in our house. We'd be shipping it through mail, or we could also be doing local shipping and just driving to customers' houses and giving it to them. That'd be more cost effective, but it'd be only local.
Yeah, at least until we like actually get enough money to be able to launch a wider variety, like wider spectrum of people.
I may not understand, but where is it being made exactly? Are you contracting that out to someone?
Actually, we make the gum
We all
ourselves.
make it.
Yeah.
You are all making it in your house?
Yes, in our houses.
So
looks
The
like
health department doesn't know about it yet, right?
You're thinking Virginia Department of Health?
it looks like your focus is a younger group of individuals.
Yes.
And why move in away from the older group? Is there a specific strategic reason for that, or do you also need that group to help you sell the younger group? Or
You still have stress, right?
right, I still have stress. No, it's just a joke, but have you thought through that? I mean, do you think?
Well, we're focusing on teenagers because we're teenagers, and we'd have that connection. But obviously, anybody could buy our product, and that's what we would hope for. But we're just marketing to teenagers because we have that connection with them.
You may need the influence of parents to kind of the go ahead, the good, pat on the back with respect to this idea. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Did I miss it? Did you show your packaging?
No, we did not.
You've not done packaging?
We have not done any packaging. We have an idea of what we want it to look like. We said we wanted to like put it in like tin cans, like little tin cans, and like have all the 20 packs, just because it would be more cost effective with putting in like a little tin can and having all the 20 in the pack. And I think we talked about having all 3 flavors in one pack, so they just kind of have a variety. Like so, selling it at 20 per pack, kind of have like 21, so we can do 7 each piece.
Just for reference purposes, in many cases, particularly the products like this, the packaging is actually more expensive and maybe more important than the product itself.
Yeah, it is.
And we've also, I forgot to say this, but we've also decided to include we've also planned to include like health warning labels and things like that on at the labels and stuff on the packaging.
As far as your customer acquisition strategy, is that in parallel with the marketing strategy as far as the big social media tech companies?
Yes, that's how we would reach our teenage customer base or anyone who wants to buy our product.
Have you looked at your customer acquisition costs to do that on those platforms?
I believe so. We set aside around $1,000 for promotions, and I think that would be enough to start us off. I've ran like social media ads through Instagram. I used to drop ship, and it did work. We got a lot of customers.
How many customers?
I've probably made around like 40 sales on one site. It did break even because of just site cost and buying the promotions, but I think if I kept going, I could have made profit.
In terms of your business model, again, you're talking about going direct to the consumer. Have you thought about going to the larger grocery stores, like what that would mean, big box retailers? That's a different sales channel where you could sell more.
Yeah, we've thought about doing that once we get an actual like base of like people, like once we have a reliable source of people who are willing to buy the product, so that we wouldn't waste money like trying to just maintain them in the store and nobody really knows what it is, and so nobody really wants to buy the gum. And so we just want to like focus on actually getting the product out there before we actually put them in like Amazon, Walmart, Target, things like that.
Yeah, we start local and grow from there.
Each one of you all, I noticed this in the last presentation, and I remember it now from before, each one of you all seemed to answer questions that different folks have asked because you have certain areas of expertise. What is there, have you all have defined roles in some of the cases before? We actually had some of the teams that this is our marketing person, this is our research person. Have you defined those roles? I noticed that as we ask a question, you all look to someone to have a specific answer. Is that?
No, we basically just, we help each other out wherever we can, and I don't think it's gotten to the point where we could focus on dividing it, because it really, we work as a team better, and so relying on each other is better than just focusing on one specific area. So we can focus on like, if one of us makes a mistake, we can look over and see like, oh, he did this, and then we can help as a team.
Well, what was the catalyst for this idea? Was it?
Yeah, I was just.
Everybody looked at you. The stress guy right there.
Right. I was just on Zoom in my virtual class, and I wanted to just chew gum, and I was like anxious, and I just thought to myself, like, gum isn't designed to relieve stress, but what if it was, you know? And that's where this idea came from. I looked it up. There were some companies that do exist, and then we found Rhodiola rosea, and we decided to stick with that plant.
What is that plant?
So it's a plant native to Western Europe and Ukraine. This plant, it's basically has properties similar to CBD, where it like relaxes you, calms you out, but not psychologically, like not psychoactively, but it does calm you down.
Where do you get that?
Amazon, you can buy it. It's pretty widely accessible.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Is anybody doing it with CBD?
Yes.
Yeah. There, on our competitor slide, there is a company that is using CBD.
They're using CBD.
Actually,
Yeah,
a
they're
multitude of
using
them
CBD.
use
Pardon
CBD.
me?
A multitude of them actually use CBD, and if you look at the packs, it's like eight pieces of gum for $20, and
Yeah.
so we believe we're cheaper in that
What
way.
does a normal pack of gum cost?
15 for like $2.30, I believe.
Pardon me?
Like if like a 15 pack is around like $2.30, I believe.
$2.30.
Yes.
Yeah.
15 packs.
Can you remind me how do you pronounce the secret ingredient again?
Rhodiola rosea.
Rhodiola rosea?
Yes.
Yep.
Did I say that right? Okay. Is there any published research on what the effects of you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Rodeo.
Yes.
It's easy for you to say, right?
Right. Yes.
There's published research.
Yes, there is a bunch of, we've looked at them, and like that's what Healthline.com's articles, I think we pulled a good amount of the research from that site, but there's also like, I can't say the names right now, I can't come off the top of my head, I apologize. But yes, there are published articles, basically.
So it's legit.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Something I'd suggest you consider when you look at products that are sold that sometimes don't have a great deal of differentiation from others, but they have a celebrity endorsement.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that would be for you, but someone who would say, wow, this really works. You might even consider giving them some ownership in your company.
Influencers.
Yes, we do.
And that's where marketing through social media would come in handy. Influencer partnership codes, that would be a score for us.
So your initial order you're going to produce, are you going to produce it all at once, or do you anticipate that you're going to be producing product in batches? How do you
We
envision
anticipate
that?
it in batches because we're still testing the longevity of the actual product itself. So
Shelf life?
Yes, we don't know how long it lasts.
You don't know what the shelf life is?
Not yet, because we made our first batch about a month ago.
Yeah.
So we don't.
So
really
far they've all been like none of them have gone bad. So.
How do you know that?
We've kept like dates on when we made them and like chewed them like 2 weeks later and like, well, it's only been 2 weeks. Is the longest time we've gone.
Yes.
Right, but you'd have to have, I would think, a shelf life, and I'm not sure that, you need to find somebody to help qualify you as to the benefits, or and it's not just the way it tastes, right? I mean, at some point in time.
Yeah.
It's gonna, yes.
Yeah, so.
You mentioned you did drop shipping. What's your method of shipping these?
You said what?
You mentioned you did drop shipping before. What's your method to ship these?
My best what?
What's our method to ship these?
To ship these.
What methods of shipping
Will you use to ship the gun?
Well, we would mail it, but we would make it locally and then we would mail it, ship it out. But for drop shipping, I used AliExpress, and DHL is what they used to ship.
And what's your cost per package on the shipping?
For this, it was $2.36 for the product, but we don't know how much it would cost to ship.
It might be a dumb question, but are you allowed to sell it on school grounds?
Probably not.
No.
Most likely not. Yeah, I don't believe so.
Right. So one of the things I understand, you all haven't had a chance to get into your finance and cash flow, but you'll have money coming in each month and you'll have expenses each month. And so then at the end of a period of time, you'll have your profit and loss, right? But there may be peaks and valleys, so I would encourage you to think about your capitalization so that, in month 2, if you haven't sold as many and you're gonna have a little loss here, the following month you might have a little profit and you have to carry that back forward. And during that period of time, because each time you go to produce it and ship it, those are costs that you're gonna incur as well as revenues that you're gonna receive. So I think it's a really cool idea.
Thank you.
It is.
We love it. We've been chewing it all
So-
day.
Look how relaxed.
Let me tell you what I think's neat about it. CBD is all the craze, right?
Yep.
I've had a half dozen people come into my office try and talk me into investing in different CBD waters and CBD this and that. But you're right. If you can actually have the same benefits, and I don't know how you quantify the same benefits, at a cost that is far less than what CBD products would cost, then there may be a whole new market for you. But somehow or another, you've got to be able to communicate that. And again, like Morgan said, and he would be a great celebrity endorser for you. I mean, this is the most stressed out guy in the world. How would you like to have to go through COVID with millions of people asking for money for the last 9 months? This guy looks like he's relaxed.
I could have used some gum last year, I could tell you.
But that whole thing, if you can get it going at a price point that's significantly less. But the other thing that you're gonna have to think about is that really branding and packaging, all that's gonna cost you some money.
Yeah.
And that might be the differential in the cost too.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions? What a great presentation. What a great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
At some point in your life, you most likely have dealt with stress or even anxiety. For example, 73% of Americans struggle with mental health every day, and 1 in every 5 teens suffer from at least one mental health disorder. A lot of times when we express our struggles and what we are going through, we are given medications or are told that our problems aren't actual problems, so we stay away from talking about it. Mental health isn't a new issue, but we as a society still have a hard time coming to terms that it is real. This is why we wanted to create a program to help out our teens and students, because we know what they're going through and we're able to connect with them through our program, SWAG.
SWAG is a program unlike any others. Our main goal is to create a safe place for people to talk about what is going on and to help get solutions to their problems. We are student-based to help improve trust and have deeper connections with our participants. However, we will also bring in mental health professionals to help give advanced advice and help.
Our target market reaches out to high school teens ages 12 through 25, and it helps those struggling with mental health, stress, and anxiety, and much more.
One of the first steps we took with our organization was to do a problem interview. The first question we asked were what were causing these teens and students stress and anxiety. The top 3 results were sports, family, and school. Then we asked what they were already doing for themselves. Some of the results were working out, laughing with friends, and listening to music. Then we asked what could we do to help them. They said less stressful work, therapy, and talking to people their age.
This is what a typical SWAG meeting will look like. It'll be about an hour and a half. We'll have 5 minutes to join and come in, 5 minutes for introductions, 15 minutes for icebreakers, 30 minutes for the professionals to talk. Then we'll break out into small groups and wrap up and then dismiss.
Due to COVID circumstances, we are showing you today a Zoom prototype of SWAG. However, we will also offer in-person meetings. As you can see, our participants are nervous, sad, depressed, and anxious. However, towards the end of the meetings, they will be SWAG.
As you can see from our cost of goods sold, we listed the cost to make and the selling price, and our profit would range from $2 to $10. So what are our next steps for SWAG? For spring 2021, we want to make merchandise, find public places for meetings, make deals with schools for meetings, and find guest speakers.
Next is summer of 2021. First, we want to hold our free participants meeting, gain more members, and then we want to hold member meetings, have more guest speakers come in, and find bigger venues.
Throughout SWAG, we learned how to communicate, stay on task, work as a team, bounce ideas off of each other, and make adjustments when needed. We also learned how to put ourselves in others' team's shoes to connect with them and see where they're coming from.
On behalf of Team SWAG, we would like to thank our mentor Megan, the Board of Advisors, and Mr. Thompson for allowing us the opportunity to pitch our business idea tonight.
Is to see these are high school sophomores, the confidence in which they bring their product forward and the way they present it. Really, hats off to the school for being able to do it. I'm always super impressed. That was a great presentation, and I look forward to the rest of them.
Yeah.
All right. Just a reminder, the videos shown in between are video pitches from teams that did not make it to pitch night, but we still wanted to showcase what they learned through the process in the class. Next up are students Ariana Abrams, Sabrina Bowles, and Kyle Restrepo. Please welcome Team Design to Grade.
Everyone has drawn a picture. Some of those pictures are good, and some of those pictures are not as good. However, the picture we are all drawing is one where the world is littered with waste because of a problem we could have solved many years ago. Because behind every picture is a pile of paper that was unused and ends up in the landfill like this. And that is where our group, Design to Grade, comes into play. I'm Kyle.
I'm Sabrina. And I'm Ariana.
And we are Design to Grade. Our problem is that the United States wastes about 60 million tons of paper every year, and only a small fraction of that is recycled. As artists, we are a major contributor to that statistic because we waste a lot of paper while drawing. And, because we are so passionate about this problem, we want to be a major contributor to solving that statistic.
We have collected a total of 21 mixed from teachers, parents, and students from in our local area in different grade levels and different age ranges. Many of the responses had noted that that recycling is an easy way to help prevent the destruction of the environment, and that also many of the responses have mentioned that eco-friendly businesses such as ourselves would help with the destruction of the environment.
This is a personal problem for our team. Most of us are artists and enjoy drawing and sketching in our free time. It's one of our favorite pastimes, and these are some of our favorite pieces that we've done. The only problem with it is we use so much paper. So why should you use garbage like this when you could be using the Design to Grade eco-friendly notebook? Our notebooks are 100% recycled. Our process to make our paper is fun and easy. As you can see, Kyle is taking our shredded paper and adding it to a blender. Once in the blender, it is blended up into a pulp. The pulp is then dumped into a container of water and filtered out on screens. The screens are then laid down and the paper is left to dry. And then we have our finished product, which Kyle is holding now. We take the finished paper and bind it to recycled cardboard and thrifted t-shirts to give out the notebooks that Ari has now. Our main competitors are Limon, Paper Age, and Mintra. Limon's notebooks use thick pages and are generally priced from around $10 to $15. Paper Age's papers are only made from partially recycled materials and range from around $15 to $20. Mintra's notebooks come in 3-packs, but only use about 80 pages. However, none of them possess the creative touch that our notebooks have.
Our target market. Our target market are both teachers and students within the local VBCPS area, as well as local artists that we know. This gives us our serviceable market of 70,000 students and teachers that we will easily be able to access because we are a part of them and have connections to middle, elementary, and high schools, and we will be able to market at all of those school functions. It cost us about $5.24 to make our notebook, which includes the paper cost, the binding, and the cover. Both Etsy and Amazon, which we plan on selling our notebook on, charge small fees to sell the notebooks, and we are looking for $750 in startup cost, which includes marketing and advertising, as well as our starting inventory of 65 notebooks. With our retail price of $5.24 to make our notebooks, we plan on selling our notebooks with a 90% markup, which gives us our final cost of $9.95, giving us a $4.71% profit margin. Our revenue forecast is that we plan on selling 15 notebooks in our first month and gradually increasing that by 4 notebooks per month, which gives us, at the end of our first year, 228 notebooks sold with a profit of $2,250.
For our marketing strategies, we plan on partnering with local small businesses in our area, along with also creating a TikTok platform along with the Instagram platform to help promote our business. And we also plan on setting up booths at local craft shows and fairs around the city. So far, we have done 2 customer surveys to collect our customer segments and target market, along with starting our prototyping and creating production, along with also making social media accounts such as TikTok and Instagram.
Our funding ask is $1,500. $400 of that will go towards creating our starting inventory of 65 notebooks. $450 will go towards any of our marketing costs, such as promoting on Instagram and TikTok. $210 will go towards 1 year of bulk selling on Amazon if we decide to go that route. $50 will go towards a year of sales on Etsy, and the remaining $140 will go towards any production and assembly costs that remain.
Our break-even point. If our revenue forecast is correct, we plan on breaking even on our $1,500 investment after about 7 to 8 months of sales, which is about 150 notebooks.
For our speed to market in summer and fall, we plan on improving our prototype and also starting pre-sales. And then in spring and summer, we will continue to improve our prototype along with also spreading our product around the world.
With your help, we can keep paper out of our landfills and into our notebooks. With Design to Grade, we can draw a better future with less waste. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful evening.
Do you have any questions that we may be able to answer?
I'd like an observation and a question. First, I have 6 grandchildren who love to draw, so they'd have a lot of fun with this. Question, I noticed in your presentation you had $1.50. Your largest single cost were 2 pieces of cardboard. I believe I saw it was $1.50. That seems extraordinary to me, that 2 pieces of card. Did I misread that?
No, so we are actually trying to figure out how much it will cost because as well as our t-shirt cost, we have it at $2, and we think that if we are able to partner with like a company that does print t-shirts and take their misprints, we can use those and figure out other ways that we can cut costs to make our notebooks cheaper.
And the sponsor of the Makerspace at Kempsville High School has generously donated some of t-shirts to us to use for our notebooks.
And the other thing I noticed in your cost breakdown, and maybe I missed it, was I didn't see the labor cost. Who's going to put all this together? I saw the materials. Was there anything there for putting everything together?
Yeah, so right now we do think that we can do the labor ourselves because we plan on selling 15 notebooks for our first month, and then once we are able to have a market, then we can reassess whether we will need to pay someone to make our notebooks or different labor costs that we may need.
We were also able to just create. We were also able just to create like 60 pages in like under a week. So.
How long does it take to prepare a notebook?
So the main thing with our notebooks is that the paper takes a lot of time to dry. So we have found a company that is able to make paper in the same way that we do, except they are able to make it at a way bigger scale. And so it costs us about $56 to get about 10,000 sheets of paper that we would use in our notebooks. And so that would save us a lot of time because then all we would have to worry about is making the cover and binding the book.
But how long does the process take until it's ready for sale? So from day one, it takes 20 days to do one book? What is the time it takes?
Once we have our paper, which the shipping time is probably around a week, but once we have that, it is relatively easy to make the cover because all you have to do is cut out a square of a t-shirt, and then once you sew it together, it takes relatively like maybe 2 hours to make a notebook because I was able to make that one within about 2 hours.
You know, it occurred to me when we looked at the last presentation and yours. So let's say this turns out to be a big hit. My question is, you're going to have to hire people to do the labor. You're going to have to, do you think you will be more efficient and be able to produce the product at less cost? Or really all the things that you're doing today, it's going to cost you a lot more, and now all of a sudden your notebook went to market at X price, and now it's got to be at Y price to be able to keep your same margins or you're going to lose your profitability.
Yeah, I think with our current cost estimate, it will probably be more expensive, and that's something we will have to reevaluate because our cost to make each notebook is a little bit on the higher end. So if we are able to get the cost lower, like Mr. Morgan?
That's good.
Okay, like you said, with the paper costs and different cardboard, if we are able to get that cost lower, then we will be able to make a larger profit.
What did your surveys give you back as far as feedback on people that are drawing on this paper, as far as did they like the quality of it, or did they think they would use that paper over a regular notebook?
So we tested the paper ourselves, our very first prototype. We realized it wasn't that good with oil pastels, colored pencils, and pencil. So we decided to continue to try to improve it better so that the paper is not as wrinkly as you see on the pink piece of paper with the drawing on it. We had to make sure that it was more flattened out so it's a smoother surface to work on.
And we did figure out a way, like Ari said, the pink paper is very wrinkly, and when that is a personal drawing of mine, when I went to erase on it, it did come up. And recently, this past week, I tested the new paper, and when I erased it, it didn't come up as much, and it worked a lot better with the other materials I tried on it.
Well, I commend you for having a prototype of any nature. That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to say I love that you guys are all wearing blazers. It's awesome. I'm not an artist, but I wrote on one of the pages, and even though it looks rough, it writes pretty well, so congratulations. And the other thing on your first $400 and to make the first 65, I would just really think about, you mentioned $56 for the 10,000 pages. Do as much of the consumption as you can up front, because those aren't high cost to lower that initial order.
Yes, thank you.
How does the price of this book, which I think you said about $10, right? How does that compare to other sort of journal books that use recycled paper? How does the price compare?
A lot of the other biodegradable notebooks that are out there are a little bit more on the pricey end because of the factor that they are biodegradable. However, a lot of normal notebooks, like the ones that you would buy at the dollar store when you're going back to school shopping, are a lot cheaper. So we do have to find a way that we are able to market to that audience so that we do not lose those customers